Hello Jurassic fans, and welcome back to Cretaceous Cantina, where today we're having a look at the Mattel Amber Collection Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park. I have been very excited about the idea of 6-inch scale Mattel Jurassic World figures. We knew these have been coming for a while now, and finally GameStop, where they are exclusive, is receiving them and shipping them out. There have been a lot of problems with the website. I had to go back and replace my original order from July in order to get them to ship. It was a bit of a mess, but thankfully I have my figure, I have my Raptor, which we'll look at in the next review, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Mattel did with this larger scale of action figures. It's brand new for them, it's brand new for us, and let's talk about the packaging. It looks really good. This is the Amber collection, so you definitely have something of like a volcanic slash amber sort of aesthetic. It's kind of an irregular shaped box, and you can see that from all the angles that it has. It's definitely not a rectangle. It's kind of got a weird shape, but it does look a little bit more organic. There is a sort of a fossil theme to it. You can see some dinosaur bones there, as well as the mosquito, of course, that is trapped in the amber. On the right side, it very awesomely says Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World. I love Jurassic World, but Jurassic Park, that's my childhood. That's where it's at. And at the back, it says Amber Collection with a really nice portrait there of Jeff Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm. An expert in chaos theory, Dr. Ian Malcolm is one of the few original visitors to Jurassic Park. While he often uses humor and sarcasm, he has a deep understanding and respect for the power of nature and knows that life finds a way. Love that. It also does say that this is an adult collector item, and colors and decorations may vary. JurassicWorld.com. Here's the top. And there's that Jurassic logo that, kind of looks like amber in the background. There's the bottom right there. All right, I'm going to take a moment, get Dr. Malcolm out of the box so we come back. We'll take a closer look. All right, you guys, so here's Dr. Malcolm out of the packaging. And overall, you guys, I am really liking what I am seeing. Now, Jeff Goldblum is a very tall, lanky man, and the figure looks appropriately so. He might be a little bit skinnier here than he looks in real life, but I think for the most part, they did a good job dialing in his proportions. And what a physique he has. I mean, this definitely looks like Jeff Goldblum. And I think that's the most important thing when you're trying to capture the likeness of a character in action figure form, especially an action figure that is geared more towards an adult collector, then the burden is on you to reproduce that aesthetic. And I think for the most part, this is working for me. The colors look good. You can see that there's different shades of black. It's not just all like a flatter, glossy black. Skin tone is looking good. We also get some nice accessories. We'll go over all that in just a little bit. Let's go and take a close-up look at his head. All right, now this totally is Jeff Goldblum. Now, is it 100%? Probably not. Does it look a little bit off because of the glasses, which to me look a little bit oversized? Yes. But by and large, we're dealing with Mattel here, a company that doesn't traditionally target adult collectors, even though a lot of their toys say adult collector on them. And for that, I can cut them a little bit of slack and also say that this looks better than most anything they do in the 6-inch scale these days. It just looks really good. I mean, they definitely captured that Jeff Goldblum aesthetic. Like I said, I think he might be a little bit skinnier here than he may have been in real life at that time. Maybe just marginally so, but they did a really good job capturing like the angles of his face and the hair, and I mean it looks like the man, especially for some reason when I look at it like from this angle, it just like totally looks like Jeff Goldblum. So I'm really happy about that. I mean that was the most important thing for me, was the likeness. Now you do see that he has some eyes sitting here behind the glasses. Unfortunately, these glasses do not come off. I really wish that they did, because I would like to see what he looks like without them. They are slightly translucent, so you can see his eyes through them, but they're dark enough where, they're not like readily apparent. So it would have been nice if those came off for sure. Unfortunately, they do not. There's maybe a little bit of a paint flaw right there at the neck seam. But it looks really good. You can see they did utilize some sort of a face printing technology. That is definitely apparent with how clean the lips look, and I don't know, I'm kind of seeing like a trace of like a 5 o'clock shadow, especially like on the upper lip and on the chin. I guess that's just where the face printing might have been applied. So maybe that's what I'm seeing. It just looks a little bit extra glossy there, but it kind of looks like a 5 o'clock shadow somewhat. The eyebrows look nice and clean. Again, they're kind of obscured by the glasses, but that hair, let's talk about that hair. This hair right here looks fantabulous. I mean, it's just sculpted beautifully, textured very nicely. And it's not really washed, like it's just painted basically in like a flat black, but it gets the job done. It really looks good. His ears are looking good. The chin is looking good. Everything about this figure from the head is looking really quite good. Other than maybe, you know, the glasses just being a little bit big to my eye. It could be, you know, that could just be my interpretation. The skin tone is really nice. Jeff Goldblum does have a slightly darker complexion, so I think they did a good job capturing that here. And also the arms, they seem to match his neck area, you know, very well. So he's got a watch right there. They actually did sculpt it pretty nicely. You can actually see like the different numbers, not the numbers, but the little indicators for the time. You can see that he's got a chain that is nicely sculpted. That looks really good. And his costume looks really good as well. You can see his sleeves are folded up all the way. And there's some nice wrinkling in the fabric there. So that looks really good, or in the plastic, I should say. The belt looks really good. The latch right there looks nice. It is metallic, just like the chain is. And yeah, I mean, the legs look really good too. I mean, those boots though, how awesome are those boots? They did a really good job capturing his boots. I really, really do appreciate that. Here at the bottom, he does have peg holes there at the heels. Overall, guys, this looks fantastic. I'm actually quite impressed with how this figure looks. I mean, it just looks the part. It feels the part. It's awesome. So let's talk articulation. So we do have, it seems to be a ball pin at the top of the neck. So you can move up and down. You can tilt it to the side ever so slightly, not too much. He looks down a little bit. He looks up a little bit, not as much as I would have liked. I think it would have been nice if there would have been a neck joint as well, but you know, you would have lost some of that seamless quality there. So I'm okay with the way it turned out. Here at the shoulders, we do have insert molded joints. So they do come out all the way. However, they're kind of hard to turn unless you have it in the downward position. So if you do that, then you can move them out or forward, and then you can kick them out like that. So they are pretty tight though. I will say they kind of budge up against the torso a little bit. So I would just, you know, be careful when doing that. Here at the elbows, you do have a nice hinge right there that gets you more than 90 degrees, comes out, you can rotate it. And the anatomy right there actually looks pretty decent. I think that definitely helps with the amount of movement you can achieve. So he does have his hands here. This one is going to go forward and back and rotate. Same as the other one, forward and back and rotate. We do have interchangeable hands. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So there is a joint here at the torso. Not a lot of movement. I mean, it goes back and it goes forward, but not like a ton. You can kind of tilt it side to side a little bit. It doesn't really let you rotate it. You can rotate the waist, however, so, you know, that compensates for that. And then here at the hips, Dr. Malcolm is very athletic because he can do a full split just like that. You can also position them to go forward, and they go forward all the way. I can't ask for any more than that. That's great. He does have cuts here at both of the thighs, so you can rotate them. He's got double bends at both of his knees. Really good movement there. And then here at his ankles, you do have a bend, and it does seem to be on a slight rocker, so it does pivot back and forth. Doesn't really go forward and back a whole lot, but you know, you can spin it as well. So overall, this is really nicely articulated. I do think a little bit more movement at the head would have been great, but other than that, I really can't complain. I mean, he's really fluid, and all the joints feel pretty tight. Nothing loose about it. So it definitely gets a thumbs up from me. So as noted, you do get two interchangeable hands. So the right hand is kind of more of an open hand. It's also got the ring that the figure is wearing right there. So you can see that as well. It's kind of got like a little turquoise pearl in it. And he's also got more of a gripping sort of left hand. And to swap them out, it's pretty straightforward. You're basically just going to pull on them. They are kind of tight, so you do kind of got to give it a little bit of pressure. That's the socket. You're just going to take the other hand and push it in until it snaps in place. And you're going to get the same movement out of it as you do from the other hand. In terms of the accessories, Dr. Malcolm, of course, comes with his flare because that is a very important accessory for him to come with. The 3 3/4 inch figure had it. This one has it too. It looks a little bit better this time around. You can see that the actual flare is red, and then the smoke billowing out of the flare looks a little bit more convincing to my eye. Yeah, it's translucent, so I'm not sure how realistic it's supposed to look, but they did a nice job transitioning from the more clear plastic to the more white smoke look to it. So that is kind of cool. As far as getting it into his hand, you're just going to slide it in like this. And it is a bit of a tight fit, but it does go in, and he grips onto it pretty nicely. Another accessory you get is a drinking glass with water in it. And this is actually really cool. I love that they actually filled it up with water. I mean, it looks like it's got water in it. Now, it doesn't ripple, it doesn't move around or slosh because it is plastic, but that's a really nice touch. It could have just been a glass, but they actually went above and beyond to actually make it look like it had water in it. So that is especially nice. Now, to have him hold it, you are going to need the interchangeable left hand. That is the one that is meant to hold onto the glass, and as you can see, he holds it perfectly. In keeping with the Amber Collection theme, we have an amber looking display base, and you can see it has the Jurassic Park logo on it. It's basically just a translucent plastic cast in this, really like yellowy amber looking color. You can see it has a couple pegs on it to put the figure. So we're going to grab the figure and just kind of peg it on. The fit is a little bit tight, so you do want to make sure that you're pressing it all the way in. That way it supports him. He doesn't need the base to stand. He's actually really reliable without the base. But if you want to have it there for display purposes, or you just want some extra peace of mind, then yeah, he stands on it just fine. Here's a comparison of Dr. Malcolm along with the Velociraptor. Now, in the film, the raptors were basically the same height as the humans, so I don't really know why the raptor feels so small or Malcolm feels so big, but there definitely seems to be a little bit of a discrepancy here. Even if I reposition the legs to increase the height, you can see that the raptor still seems kind of small. So I'm definitely a little confused about that. Like, the raptor should be bigger. I don't know if this is something that was done because of price points. Maybe in order to get the raptor to $30, they needed to shrink it a little bit. And I do know that Malcolm is a tall character, but I can't help but imagine that even if I had like Dr. Grant standing here, that the raptor still would look a little bit small. I guess, when and if we do get those figures, I'll be able to do a better comparison. But for the sake of these two Wave 1 figures with Malcolm and Raptor, the raptor does feel a little bit small to me. All right, now as far as height goes, Malcolm is coming in at a little bit over 6 3/4 inches tall. So if this is a 6.5 inch scale line, which it looks to be, then this seems to be an appropriate height for Dr. Malcolm. To test that out, I've brought in the recently released Star Wars The Black Series Sith Trooper, which is a 6 inch scale figure, and also the Diamond Select Ghostbusters 2 Peter Venkman, which is a 7 inch scale figure. And you can see that Malcolm certainly seems to be somewhere in the middle. So definitely a 6.5 inch scale figure. Here's a comparison here of Malcolm along with the Legacy Collection Malcolm. And you can see that the proportions on the 6.5 inch scale figure are just a lot better. It looks a lot more natural. This one looks a little bit funky in some areas, like the arms looking so beefy. So you can certainly see how the 6 inch form allows for more authenticity, allows for more detail. This just looks a heck of a lot better than this little guy, even though I love this little guy. Don't get me wrong. There's just no comparison. The 6.5 inch figure is way better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Mattel Amber Collection Dr. Ian Malcolm 6.5 inch scale figure from Jurassic Park. Overall, you guys, I am very happy with the way that the figure turned out. I'm not the biggest fan of the 6.5 inch scale because it just feels like a weird scale to me. I don't know why they didn't just make these 6 inch. I think that would have been better overall. I think had he been 6 inch, he would have scaled better with the Raptor. But that aside, the execution on this Malcolm is awesome. The likeness is fantastic. Looks a lot like Jeff Goldblum. The sculpting is great. The paint applications are quite simple, but very effective and exactly what they need to be for this figure. The articulation is great, no problems at all, especially in the leg area. It's superb. And yeah, the head could have used a little bit more movement, but for the most part, I'm really happy with everything about this figure, essentially. I love the accessories. The interchangeable hands are a nice touch. The drinking glass with the water on it, that's awesome. The flare is an essential accessory. He holds it just fine. And the added base, although unnecessary for this figure, he doesn't need a base to stand, is a great touch. I'm happy that they included it. Overall, for $25, I think that's a very fair deal for what you're getting. Don't forget, it is a 6.5-inch scale, so you're getting a little bit more figure than you would with a 6-inch figure. And with all the accessories you get, I can't help but feel that it is very fairly priced. I'm very happy with the execution and everything about this figure. If you're a Jurassic Park fan, if you're a Jeff Goldblum fan, if you are a larger action figure scale collector, then I think you're really going to enjoy adding this to your collection. Can't recommend it to you enough. Go out and get it or order it online. Very well worth it. I'm very pleased with this very first human figure in Amber collection, and I just hope that the rest of them, they might do live up to what they accomplished here with Dr. Malcolm. All right, my friends, let me know your thoughts down below. I will read every comment. And don't forget to tune in to the Collect Jurassic World podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Cretaceous Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.